Okay, sorry folks, I appear to have forgotten where my landing gear button is, so rather than muck around, I'm just going to pull it in from there and try and remember that next time. Here we begin on the Arizona-Nevada border, ready to try out my brand new VFR Flight plan. This time though, I've decided to spice things up a bit by taking on a mission. That mission is to fly my very important business passenger to an important business meeting later in Las Vegas. We'll begin our journey here at the Laughlin Bullhead International Airport. From here, we'll fly along the Colorado River, past Lake Mohave, nestled gently between the Black Mountains to the east in northwestern Arizona, and the El Dorado and Newberry Mountains to the west in southern Nevada. Then on to the captivating Hoover Dam. Priced at roughly $1.7 billion in today's money, it still stands as the highest concrete arch gravity dam in the United States. The dam produced what is still the largest reservoir in that same nation, Lake Mead. After taking in these sights from the air, we'll turn back towards Boulder City as we prepare our approach to Boulder City Municipal Airport. Finally, delivering our very important business passenger for a limousine ride into the city of Las Vegas for what I'm certain will be an evening of opulent revelry. Excited? I know I am. Let's get started. Okay, here we are lined up at the hold short line, ready to undertake our critical mission. We have to deliver our white knuckle business specialist with alarmingly dark eyeballs. Should probably get that checked out. Not part of this service, but let's get you to where you need to be. So we're ready to go. I want to tune to the tower, and I'm going to request permission.
Tower Piper November Echo 9er Bravo Foxtrot ready at runway 16 departure to the north.
Piper November Echo 9er Bravo Foxtrot altimeter
2996 already set.
6 wind 209er at 6. Departure to the north approved. Cleared for takeoff runway 16.
Okay, because we need to depart north, we've got the clearance for the takeoff now, so I'm not going to muck around too much, but I'm basically, because I'm cleared for the north, I'm going to fly out, I'm going to fly crosswind, downwind, and I'm going to exit on the downwind of the pattern and begin my navigation. So now we've got the clearance, we're looking left, we're looking right. We need to acknowledge that transmission, I completely forgot.
Cleared for takeoff runway.
We're cleared for takeoff runway 16.
Bravo Foxtrot.
Okay, cool. Let's go. Parking brake is off. We are moving forwards. Let's get ourselves out onto the runway, looking right. Let's get this ATC menu out of our way, which we know wouldn't exist in real life, so our VIP passenger can hold on to it for us. Okay, we're looking left. There's a plane over there, but I don't think it's coming in, and we've been cleared for takeoff, so there's nothing imminently here. This is a big runway for us here. Let's turn onto the runway. This is 16, which is what we've been asked to line up on. I'm going to put the line up on the lines. I'm going to put the brakes on before we just poodle halfway down the runway. Put the ground brake on. Right, so just a final takeoff briefing. We're going to release the parking brake, go full throttle, maintain the axis with the rudder, airspeed indicator check is working, rotation speed is 65 knots, and initial climb is accelerating to 78. Here we go, this is it. So, flaps are already in, so I'm going to put propeller to maximum, release the parking brake, I'm managing the center line with my rudder. Okay, so that's good so far. The wind is coming in at my 6, so I'm going to turn slightly into it. Airspeed is alive. 60 knots. 65. And rotate. Oh, oof. Okay, that was a bit ugly. Not sure why that is. But we're up. Okay, we want to gain some airspeed here. It's quite a strong headwind, so we're taking a little bit of a minute to gain airspeed, but we're now gaining airspeed, so I can afford to pull up a little bit more. Okay, so we're going to pull up a little bit more because we want 78 knots. We're a little bit fast at the moment. We're coming up past 300 feet, so I can afford to raise the landing gear because I have a positive rate of climb and release the flaps. Where's my landing gear? Why is the sim start? Oh, okay. Where's the landing gear button? That wasn't what I wanted.
Piper 9 Bravo Foxtrot, continue for north departure.
Okay, sorry folks. I appear to have forgotten where my landing gear button is, so rather than muck around, I'm just going to pull it in from there and try and remember that next time. So, okay, we want to come up to 1,000 feet, and we were at 600, so we are halfway there. We started at 600. I've got an airplane in front of me here, so I'm a little bit concerned about that. Also, I'm a little bit off course for the runway track, so I'm going to manage that as well.
Piper 9 Bravo Foxtrot, please acknowledge.
Acknowledging that
Tower
indication.
Piper November, Echo 9 Bravo Foxtrot, continue
Right.
for north
I'm coming
departure.
up to my target altitude now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the power out. So I'm at about 1,000 feet now, so I'm going to turn for my... now for my base leg. Now I've got to be careful. No, so this is the first challenge of this flight that I'm doing today. Well, there's actually a lot of challenges. One of them is this terrain, while very pretty, is quite dangerous because it's at it's mountainous, so there's a lot of variable altitude here. So I think what I'm going to do to avoid getting too close to the ground here now on my crosswind leg is I'm going to gain some altitude. So I'm going to put some power in. I'm going to gain a bit more altitude here. Positive rate of climb achieved. Just to check, flaps are down, landing gear is up. Let's turn off our landing lights and let's turn off our auxiliary boost pump because that's part of our procedures for taking off. Okay, now we're going to turn left here to fly our downwind leg. Okay, here we go.
Now that the downwind leg is done, it's time to pick up our first challenge. I'm going to try to get heading in the right direction and find my way to Lake Mohave.
64 November.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is the first leg of my navigation is the climb out. So we want to travel, now that we've paralleled the runway, we're going to be traveling for a total of 9 minutes at 110 knots. So we need to get up to 110, which we're nearly at now actually. And we're climbing up to 6,500 feet. That's our glide altitude that we want there. So 9 minutes. So if we hit the stopwatch, so we can keep an eye on the time, and we're going to parallel this river here. And we're going to keep it on our left. So what I'm going to do now is begin my ascent up to 6,500 feet.
Piper 9 Bravo Foxtrot, leaving my airspace frequency.
Right, I'm getting frequency change approval there. I've got to be careful because I've got an aircraft coming in here.
Tower Piper November, Echo 9 Bravo Foxtrot, frequency change.
Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give him a nice wide berth because actually aircraft coming in to land at Bullhead City are going to be following this river. So this could have been the first little flaw in the plan that I made, because I've actually planned to travel out on that glide path. I might have been better off climbing out over these mountains and then coming back in that way. Welcome on board Artificial Aviation Airways. We appreciate you have a choice of rookie pilots, and we thank you for choosing us. Okay, so I think we've avoided that aircraft there. I think our busy executive business lady is happy. What's my current heading? So 340 degrees is my current heading.
Now, according to the flight plan that I've got from here, I should actually be heading somewhere a bit different. I should be heading, oh no, 340, there we go. So I'm smack on where I should be heading. We're at 4,000 feet. So we are climbing, just perhaps not as quick as we'd like. Right, so what we can do now is we can tune out of that now because we're away from that airport. We're out of their authority now and we're into open ground. So again, I'm looking around. I'm looking for other aircraft because I don't want to be involved next to him. We're well clear of him now. Okay, so let's try and figure this out. We are our first waypoint. If we look at the sectional diagram again, flying out here for 17 nautical miles at the largest width of Lake Mohave. So this is Lake Mohave coming up, and at the widest point we kind of want to be almost on top of it, and that's going to be our first waypoint. That's where we want to hit 6,500 feet, because we've got mountain ranges coming up, and I did that altitude on purpose so that we got a little bit of clearance to these mountains here. So we're well above 3,000 feet now, so what I can do is I can thin out the mixture to get more power out of the engines. So that should do us nicely. Also make more efficient use of my fuel. 4 minutes 32 seconds, we're doing well, we're climbing nicely, keeping that nose flat on the horizon, and we're doing good. I take it you've had a busy morning of business in Bullhead City. I know there's a business park there, but don't worry, we're going to go and take a good look at the Hoover Dam, and then we'll get you flown into Boulder City and on your way to Las Vegas. I'm a little bit further away from Lake Mohave than I'd like, so I'm just going to, now that I'm sufficient distance away from the airport, I'm going to move back in a little bit. I'm just going to make a slight course correction. The other advantage to getting up to this sort of higher altitude is that I can see a lot more, and my vantage point here is a lot better, so the opportunities to get lost, I guess, are going to be less because I can see more. Right, once we parallel Lake Mohave, we're going to be doing a 29 nautical mile stint. And according to this, that 29 nautical mile stint is going to take 15 minutes. So we're at 6.5 minutes now. So we've done that a little bit quicker than we expected to, but then I set the waypoint a bit further back, so that's to be expected, which is fine.
With the route checked, it was time to level out and start making my way to the Hoover Dam.
Coming up on 6,500 now, so we're going to look to level out in a minute. I'm going to set a sensible power level, and once we come across the middle of Lake Mohave, which is going to be soon, we're going to want to set our new course, which is 336 degrees, and we're going to want to reset the timer so we know where we're going, and then we'll consult the map. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to level out. I'm going to set sensible power levels, so we need to be doing 110 knots. Right, so we want cruising power, so we want to be out of the red for revs, so that will do us nicely. We want to get some airspeed by sacrificing some altitude, like this. Reset our timer. There we go. So, okay, so we've got the airspeed now, so I'm going to trim the airplane out a little bit, like so. Okay, that seems about right for the moment, but we're not quite going fast enough. So, what I want to do is optimize my mixture. It's as low as I dare go with the mixture. Okay, so how are we doing for speed? We need a bit more power, and we'll square off the throttle with the RPM lever. Let's trim that down a little bit, because we want the airspeed, remember. because time is important when you're an important business executive, isn't that right? I understand completely. I'm actually going to turn our little iPad off over here because it's annoying. I'm going to minimize ATC for the moment because reasons. I want to have a quick look at the chart and see where our next point is. So we're going to follow the river all the way up to the next point here. We're following the river, so we've got the Colorado River here on our left. So after the end of this stint is when we're going to begin our descent to 4,500 feet, and that's going to give us a much better view of the dam as we come in over the thing. So that's the next kind of phase of the flight. Right now we're just sightseeing, which is awesome. Sit back, enjoy the view. Yeah, pretty nice.
As Lake Mohave begins to hove into view, we're treated with a first-class seat to the awe-inspiring mountains and desert that seem to sprawl from the Colorado River. Unfortunately, I had no time to sit back and admire the view, as I needed to get back to flying the airplane.
This would be a really good time, rather than sitting around sightseeing, to do some checks. So the first thing we're going to do is check the status of the airplane. So the suction gauge is good, oil temperature is good, oil pressure is good, we're generating amps, which is fine, fuel pressure is in the green, and we're consuming fuel nicely. So everything looks good for now. We are losing altitude. The other thing as well is we actually don't need to be going this fast. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the revs down a little bit, say 2400.
When I look back on this, I can't help but feel like I made a mistake. The symptoms were decreasing altitude and increasing or higher than expected airspeed. Looking back on it, I feel strongly that these symptoms most likely meant that my nose was pitched too low, probably because it was trimmed in that position. In this case, the correction should have simply been to pitch the nose back up and retrim, verifying that I got the response that I expected. I feel like making too many changes at once makes the behaviour of the airplane harder to predict. Also remembering that I should be using pitch to control airspeed and power to control altitude, coupled with the fact that I know I have an imbalance. I should simply be able to trade the airspeed I don't want for the altitude I do want and end up with the right balance. Tell me, did I get it right? Drop me a line in the comments if you think I should have done something else, or if you might have handled it differently and why. Now, back to the video.
So where are we and where's the river? So the river's here and we're going to cross it where it comes over. So we need to be a little bit closer to the river. So I'm going to drift back across, so we're a little bit more on track. So the river does this zigzag thing and then it comes right across. Now this is the zigzag thing on my left here. So I'm going to move over to be part of that zigzag of the river. So I'm definitely seeing Lake, I believe that's Lake Mead. Let's just check it. Oh, we cut this off. I believe that's this lake here. So while we're in flight, I'm going to fix my emergency map because I don't need that to be broken. So that's fine. So we've come up and we're traveling up to, yeah, Lake Mead is, I believe, what this is here, which is what we're seeing here. Now, we're supposed to be crossing this bit of river here, so I'm moving over. I can't see, but I think this mass here is Boulder City. I think this is Lake Mead, so yeah, that's fine. Back to our charts. We need to be coming really tight to this river so we overpass the Hoover Dam. But once we cross this next zigzag, when we get back to the river, which I believe is this point just here in our view, that's when we need to be beginning our descent to 4,500. That's to keep us safely under this Class B airspace. Okay, let's have a look. Go back to the flight plan. Let's make this smaller now because that's quite scary. Okay, back down here you go. 9 minutes in, so far the time's fairly accurate. Altitude's roughly maintaining. We're roughly maintaining our speed. There's a lot of turbulence at the moment. Okay, so having a little look around, we want to look and avoid, see if there's anything coming. Right, I'm very conscious I've got an airplane over there, so I need to be careful of him. Other than that, everything looks fine. There's an airplane up there, need to be conscious of him. Alright, okay, I've got one up there to my 12 o'clock, and I've got one over there on about my 9 o'clock, so I've got 2 airplanes I need to be consciously aware of at the moment. Look at this view, ladies and gentlemen. These mountains are gorgeous. Absolutely stunning. What I'm doing... Oh, hello. There's an airplane there. He's to my just past 9 o'clock. Is he separate to the one I saw before? Yeah, there's another one over there just before 9 o'clock. So I've got one just before 10, one just before 9. I also have one up there. Next one is a stint of 5 miles, which is my descent. Should take 2.5 minutes. So I'm not going to bother resetting the stopwatch for that one, and I should be heading 337 degrees. So here we go now. Right, I think that's close enough. This is an awful pattern, and I'm too high. Okay, we're risking a stall here. Let's give it some power. Coming into 200 feet. We're a little bit offline.